Stepping into the caress of the deep, thick night after my shift was an act as familiar as breathing. There's something about the 2 a.m. stillness that wraps around you and lulls you into a sense of isolation, a reassuring solitude. I was the knight of the graveyard shift at a round-the-clock grocery store. Seen my share of strange, even dangerous, in the stark fluorescent aisles, from the barrel of a gun to fisticuffs with men who thought stealing was a profession. But I'm a survivor, born and bred in the hardscrabble corners of the city. So, after the routine of locks clicking shut, I'd nestle into the familiar embrace of my '89 Ford and let it carry me through the hushed silhouette of my city. On this particular night, though, the summer heat hung heavy, the city's constant thrum unnervingly absent. A few blocks in, I clocked a pair of eyes in my rearview mirror, headlights growing from distant stars to invasive moons. At first, I brushed it off. But when those eyes followed my Ford's every twist and turn, a sliver of unease began to tickle my gut. In a desperate attempt to lose this unwanted tail, I dove into the forgotten veins of the city, where the streetlights were unreliable at best. Down an especially shadow-soaked street I ventured, hoping the lack of light would be a deterrent. The persistent glow behind me, however, disagreed. High beams kicked up like angry spirits, throwing exaggerated specters onto decaying brick and mortar. I delved deeper into the darkness. A fleeting figure dashed across my path. My foot crashed onto the brakes, the tires squealing a protest as the car lurched to a halt. It took me a moment to register what I'd seen. A child, a little girl in a white nightgown standing in the middle of the road. Where did she come from? Why was she out here alone in the dead of night? My heart twisted at the sight of her tiny, trembling figure, but the terror of the car behind me urged caution. Cautiously, I stepped out of the car, my voice a hoarse whisper in the dense silence. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Her tiny shoulders quivered, silent sobs resonating in the quiet night. She didn't respond. I took a step toward her. That's when I heard the growl, low and feral, coming from my car. Whirling around, I saw a grotesque figure hunched over the hood, its eyes reflecting the meager light like those of a feral cat. Man, beast, or a horror story fusion of both, I couldn't tell. His mouth opened wide, impossibly wide, revealing rows of serrated, shark-like teeth. The news or city chatter had never whispered of such a terror prowling our streets. Panic glued me to the spot, the phantom child behind me, this hellish creature in front. One frantic look back, and the street swallowed the girl, leaving just the night in my pounding heart. Reality? Dream? Couldn't tell. Questions for later. Surviving was a more immediate concern. Breaking free from my frozen state, I sprinted back to my Ford. The beast lunged at me as I dived into the driver's seat, its grotesque face smearing a grotesque, oily trail across my window. Ignoring the primal fear screaming within me, I threw the car into reverse, wheels spitting gravel like an angry specter. The creature's clawed hand left long, deep scores in the metal, a lasting memory of our encounter. But it wasn't done. I peeled away. The beast gave chase. Its monstrous form reflected in my rearview mirror, an unholy sprinter on the desolate, moonlit road. Its predatory eyes remained locked onto mine, its hideous face twisted in a snarl that promised nothing short of doom. My foot pushed harder on the gas, the engine protesting in a whine that echoed my own internal panic. The speedometer's needle crept higher and higher, but the beast matched pace. Every time I dared a glance in the mirror, those luminescent eyes met mine, an unholy promise burning in their depths. Terror ignited within me a desperate idea. With a deep breath, I veered towards the roadside, the approaching lamppost, my only ally in this lonely stretch of asphalt. The beast, locked onto its pursuit, didn't anticipate the move. The resulting impact was an ear-shattering collision. The screech of upbending metal swallowed the creature's howl of rage, and the rearview mirror was suddenly devoid of its monstrous reflection. Heart pounding a staccato rhythm against my ribs, I accelerated towards the comforting glow of civilization, leaving behind the broken lamppost and the echoing screams of the creature. I drove without stopping to check if this thing was dead, without daring to breathe, my pulse echoing the frantic thrum of the engine until the familiar glow of my apartment porch light washed over me. My apartment's porch light was the finish line to this terrifying race, a beacon guiding me toward the sanctuary of normality. The safety of my front door offered little comfort as the terror of the night replayed. The phantom girl's sobs intermingled with the creature's snarls. So let this be a cautionary tale for anyone cruising the deserted Louisiana highways late at night. You might not be as lucky as I was.